You've probably been to Medellin and had that aha moment where you think, man, I can really live there long term. That is stage 0 of the lifestyle design cycle. That means that you've had an epiphany. You've said, fuck this, I can't live where I live now. I need to live in Medellin because my life would be happier. The weather is perfect. The people are amazing, the culture is awesome, and the cost of living is low. And you would just be a lot happier here. I had that aha moment back in 2010. When I got deported back in 2010 from the United States to Colombia, I landed in Bogota. I lived in Bogota for 6 months. I got a regular job working at a call center making $4 an hour. I was not happy at all. I was struggling. Luckily, I had a friend that came over from the United States that was visiting Colombia, and we met up in Bogota. We did some touristy things when he was down here, and he said, hey, Andrew, let's go down to Medellin, check it out, and see what the vibe's like. So we took a bus from Bogota to Medellin. If you've ever done that, you know that could be 9+ hours depending on the roads. But as soon as I got here, I realized that this was the city that I was gonna call home. I never went back to Bogota. My family members that I had there that I had just met because I had never been to Colombia before were like, what the heck happened to you? I'm like, have you ever been to Medellin? And they're like, no. And I was like, well, you need to come because this place is amazing. And I've been here ever since. Let me know in the comments if you've had that aha moment. I would love to know what it was like for you because everybody's journey is a little bit different, right? Obviously mine's way different than most people, but everybody has that moment of awakening when they actually get to Medellin and they're like, holy shit, why am I living where I'm living right now when life could be this good? So that's stage 0, the aha moment. Stage 1 is where you start to define what your life is going to be like in Medellin. This is before you even move down here indefinitely. Your plan might be to be here for 3 months, 6 months, a year. A lot of people just come here with an open slate and said, okay, I'm just gonna go live there and see what happens. But the best thing to do is to actually define what it is that you want out of Medellin, because you've probably been here or you've probably watched a lot of our YouTube videos out here where we express and show our love for the city and show you our lifestyle here. So you've got to define what it is that you want out of Medellin. What would make you happy living here? Would you be happy living in nature? Maybe somewhere in Envigado or up in the mountains somewhere? Would you be happier living in the city? Maybe even in downtown Medellin. I lived there for 1.5 years and I loved it. A major part of this defining moment is also your budget. What's your monthly budget to live on? A good rule of thumb for me is that I've always spent about 30% of what I make on my living expenses, like my rent, electricity, air conditioning, etc. So you need to figure out where that's going to be for you. And that's going to determine a lot of things, like what neighborhood you're going to live in. For example, I live in the most expensive neighborhood in Medellin called El Poblado, but there are other nice neighborhoods that are less expensive. For example, places in Laureles, even Envigado, Sabaneta, La Floresta, La Frontera, and parts of Belén. What neighborhood you would like to live in, and then start defining it even more. What gym would you like to go to? Are you going to have a maid coming in weekly or bi-weekly? Are you going to have a cook? Are you going to go to a high-end barber shop, or are you just going to go to the local barber shop? Medellin is a big city and it can cater to a lot of different lifestyles. So start defining it before you even make the move. Another big thing to define before you even get here to Medellin is what kind of visa you're going to go after. Because as a tourist, you're only able to stay here 6 months. So what kind of visa are you going to get? The digital nomad visa, the student visa, the property owner visa, investor visa? Are you going to get married? A marriage visa? All of that is possible, but it's a lot better if you start defining that before you even make the move and start contacting a competent lawyer out here. Another big thing that I tell all of my friends and family that come down here for an extended period of time is to figure out their community. What is it that they like to do? Start looking for those groups before you even get here, and you can do that. All you got to do is go to the mdecommunity.com website, and you're going to find WhatsApp groups for an array of different type of activities, even entrepreneur groups, mom groups that are combined not only with expats, but also with locals in those groups. So you can start building your community before you even get here, because it really sucks to get to a place and not know anybody. I know what that feels like because, like I said, when I first got here, I was deported. I didn't know anybody. I met my family for the first time that lived here, but they were like strangers to me, and they lived in Bogota. So when I came down here, I had to start forming my own community. And how did I do that? Back then, there was a lot of couch surfing events, and I started joining those. There were no Facebook groups really for expats here. So what I did was I started to find people that were entrepreneurs that were either expats or just traveling, and locals that wanted to start their own business. And we formed a Facebook group called the Medellin Entrepreneur Society. And that group alone made a huge difference and a big impact in my life. So start looking for groups based on your interests. By the way, if you're planning to move to Medellin for a long-term period of time, make sure to check out the Medellin Masterclass /checklist. The link is in the description below. It's a checklist that me and my team have worked on for over 100 hours of things you should do before you even move to Medellin. And it also has a few tips on how to find apartments so that you don't get gringo priced. It's going to have all the links that I talk about in this video on forming a community, etc. So go check it out. It's a free download. Just click on the link below to the Medellin Masterclass checklist. Stage 2 is the exploration stage, and this is an extension of stage 1, because now that you have a defined vision of what you want out of Medellin and you've started to make some contacts, maybe join some groups, this is where you actually start to connect with people and you start asking questions. There are thousands of expats living in Medellin, and they're in these Facebook groups, in the WhatsApp groups. You can message them directly and ask them what their experience has been like. You can make a post of your own asking where people live and what neighborhoods they suggest to live in based on your lifestyle. You start watching YouTube channels like mine or anybody else's out there about living in Medellin so that you get even more information. You start taking notes and you prepare for your big move. We've had a couple students that have taken the Medellin Masterclass that had to bring furniture down, so they had to contact international movers, etc. So you want to get that process going. This exploration phase is where you also take advice from people, but make sure to be very careful who you take advice from, because not every expat that lives down here has the same journey or even the same MO as you might. A couple of other students did something that I thought was pretty genius. What they did was that they contacted a Spanish tutor because they needed to improve their Spanish, and they started to do virtual classes with that tutor. And when they got here, they already had a friend that they knew, this Spanish teacher. So once they got here, they were actually able to meet up and continue taking those classes, but in person. And on top of that, that Spanish teacher knows where all of the language exchanges are. They know the city. So you already have a friend that you've been talking to for days, months, even a year. If you are not planning on moving here yet, you can get that process started and you have like that foot in the door. And I thought that was so genius, because not only are you creating a friend here already and you're paying them pennies on the dollar for a Spanish course from an actual certified Spanish teacher. These aren't just people that you see on the internet like, hey, let's do an exchange. No, there are Spanish tutors that are actual teachers that have a degree in teaching that you can get these virtual classes from just on a Zoom call and actually make progress on your Spanish. So not only was that genius, but also the fact that once they get here, they have this insider connection, this paisa that they're friends with. And furthermore, it's like a psychological foot in the door. It's like you have this Medellin connection, because even if you're just a tad bit unsure or a little scared to make that leap and move completely, once you start talking to this person about their life in Medellin, about what the culture is like, or maybe something you heard in the news, and they give you their take, it'll give you more and more confidence in your decision to come down here. Stage 3 is where you decide and take action. This is where you say, all right, I'm doing this, and you book that flight down here and you don't look back. This is the stage where most people get stuck. They have all of the intentions in the world to come down to Medellin long term, but they just don't do it. Something is holding them back. I'd love to know what it is that's holding you back. Is it the fact that maybe you don't have the budget to move down here? Or maybe you have a physical job there and you can't leave it, so you can't come down here long term? Is it because you have other things tying you to the country you're in? What is it that's holding you back? I'd love to know, because my team and I have put over 200 hours into the Medellin Masterclass solving these issues for our students. And the more I know about the problems, the better I will get at resolving them for you. And if you do have a big obstacle or you have a lot of questions, feel free to book a call with me. It's in the description below as well. Stage 4 is reflection. This is where you take inventory on everything that you have now that you're here in Medellin. How are you feeling? What is it that you love about the neighborhood you're living in? What is it that you don't like about the neighborhood you're living in? You're gonna have a lot of aha moments once you're down here, and you might have some oh no moments as well. But that's when you start that cycle again. That's why it's called a lifestyle design cycle, because it keeps going. For example, you might book an apartment apartment for 2 months in Laureles and you realize that you don't like living there because maybe it's too much traffic, too much noise, you'd rather be in the countryside. So that's when you start your lifestyle design cycle all over again. You have that aha moment. You're like, man, I don't like this. Let's explore other areas. And that's where you start the cycle all over again from stage 0 to stage 4. As I reflect on my life after 13 years of living here, I've realized that I really do love living in Medellin. I've developed the Medellin Masterclass together with my business partner, AK, and we've helped a few people already move down here. And I understand that not everybody can live here. Not everyone's gonna have the same reaction to living in Medellin. So I encourage you to go through this lifestyle design cycle as you entertain the thought of moving down here. Also, guys, I'm giving away these t-shirts to some of my subscribers, so make sure to hit the subscribe button and the like button. And if you want to buy one, you can check out the store in the description below. I'll see you guys in the next video.